So today marks a week since the start of the war between the US and Iran. And boy, does it seem like the war is not going to stop anytime soon, because apparently Trump said that he will not stop the war until Iran surrenders completely and changes its leadership. And Iran was like, no way we're doing that. No, that's not going to happen. So yeah, Trump wants unconditional surrender from Iran. Iran said no way. And the war is continuing with more sides joining the war, because apparently there are some reports saying that Russia started helping Iran, because the reports are saying that Russia is giving Iran intelligence information, including locations of US warships and locations of military aircraft. At least they're not firing any weapons, so Russia is not technically in the war, because we already have so many countries in the war. Like, we got Iran, the US, Israel, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Jordan. It's a lot, like the whole Middle Eastern area plus the US. And apparently a lot of other countries are getting affected by this war, because oil prices are getting crazy right now. Because an oil barrel is now $90 while it was only $80 before the war. So yeah, that's $10 in a week. And apparently this is the largest oil jump since early 2020. And issue is, it might get even crazier, because as you know, Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz, so now oil is not passing through there. So yeah, oil is getting more expensive. But if you think Trump just wants Iran and that's gonna be it, well, think again, because apparently now Trump is thinking about Cuba next. Because Trump today talked to the CNN and he said that Cuba is gonna fall pretty soon. Yeah, he wants Cuba to fall. But the problem between the US and Cuba is an interesting story. And let me tell you the story, because a lot happened there. Because the US and Cuba have been enemies since like 1959, since Fidel Castro led the revolution in Cuba. And when the revolution happened, Cuba became a communist country, and the US was like, wow, okay, so now you're communists, you're gonna be working with the Soviet Union. So the US and Cuba weren't really friends anymore. And because of that, the US placed a trade embargo on Cuba on 1960. So yeah, Cuba wasn't trading with a lot of countries, especially not the US. At least they were getting their oil and food from the Soviet Union. But then the Soviet Union fell on 1991. So Cuba was like, you know what? We can rely on Venezuela. We can get our oil from Venezuela. And for like 30 years, they were getting their oil from Venezuela. Apparently Venezuela sent Cuba about 50,000 to 100,000 barrels of oil every single day to Cuba. As you know, Venezuela's President Maduro was removed from power, and because of that, Venezuela actually stopped sending oil to Cuba. And oil is needed for a lot of things in the country. If you don't know, but like, it's needed for electricity, buses, garbage trucks, airplanes, and factories. And it was so bad in Cuba that apparently Cuba experienced a 24-hour nationwide blackout. Like, millions of people had no electricity for a whole day. And apparently people in Havana, the capital city, cooked with firewood, sat in dark homes, and stopped using their refrigerators or air conditioners. And because there was no fuel, garbage trucks didn't come and take the garbages, so the whole street was full of garbage. And it was so bad that people started burning their garbage at night, and because of that, smoke was in the air, and it was garbage smoke, so disgusting. And now countries are stopping their planes from going to Cuba, because let's say you go to Cuba, you can't come back because there is no fuel. And countries like France and Canada and obviously the US stopped sending their people to Cuba. So yeah, Cuba is in a horrible, horrible situation right now. And because of that, Trump said what I told you earlier, which is Cuba is going to fall pretty soon. And he actually said that he's going to send Marco Rubio, which is the Secretary of State, to go and negotiate with Cuba. I don't really know if he's going to negotiate or they're just going to be pretending to negotiate and then something's going to happen to Cuba. But apparently Trump said that I'm going to put Marco over there and we'll see how that works out. So yeah, there are going to be some negotiations going on. We'll see what's going to happen. But yeah, Trump, I guess, wants Cuba to fall now. But you know what, guys? Countries are not the only ones who are mad at the US, because apparently Nintendo is mad at America now. Because Nintendo now is suing America, technically Trump. And why? Well, because of tariffs. Because as you know, Trump put tariffs on a lot of countries, and because of that, companies had to pay the tariffs. 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court actually told Trump that you cannot put tariffs on other countries that way. And because of that, the US Court of International Trade said that all the companies that paid the tariffs and stuff should get a refund. So companies should be happy, right? They're getting like all their money refunded plus apparently interest. But thing is, that money is in billions. And do you think the US government is just going to be paying the companies billions? No. Because the US was like, oh, we need time to refund that money, like at least 45 days. And that's where Nintendo comes, because Nintendo's like, okay, we're not waiting those 45 days because apparently those tariffs were illegal from the start. Like, we didn't have to pay that money in the beginning. So yeah, there's a lawsuit coming from Nintendo to the US, but the thing is, guys, even though the tariffs were illegal by the Supreme Court, I told you before, Trump is still putting more tariffs on countries because he's using another law, apparently Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. Anyways, it's some law that gave him the power to put 15% tariffs on countries. How is he able to put that tariff after the Supreme Court told him he cannot? I don't know. The US laws are really weird, but he's doing it. And at the same time, Nintendo is suing him for the tariffs that he already put on him. So yeah, now countries are mad at the US, companies are mad at the US. I don't know what's happening. Plus, there's a country today that actually threatened Trump. Yeah, they threatened Trump because Indonesia today threatened to leave the Board of Peace. But what's the story? Because as you know, Trump made the Board of Peace to manage and rebuild Gaza, and apparently its job was to supervise and organize and coordinate security in Gaza. And Trump asked a lot of countries to join that Board of Peace, including Indonesia, which, if you don't know, Indonesia actually has 275 million people. It's actually the largest Muslim majority country in the whole world. And at first they were like, you know what? Cool, okay, it's a Board of Peace that will help Gaza. Yeah, let's do that. But then Trump invited Israel to the Board of Peace. So Indonesia was like, okay, this is weird because working with Israel would hurt Palestinians. It will not help them. And they were arguing in Indonesia that Indonesia should not join that Board of Peace if Israel is joining it. And today, Indonesia's president came out and said that if the Board of Peace does not truly help Palestinians, Indonesia will leave the board. So is it actually a big threat? I don't know. Like, will Trump take it seriously? Will he be like, no, don't leave? I'm not sure. I don't know what Trump is even thinking. I don't even know if Trump knows what he's thinking, to be honest with you. But as of right now, the Board of Peace talks are paused because of the war with Iran. And because of that war, the whole Middle Eastern region is unstable. It's actually kind of weird because Trump made that Board of Peace to not have wars and stabilize countries that had wars before, but at the same time, he just started a new war a week ago. Like, how can you make a Board of Peace that's supposed to protect other countries and invite so many countries into it, but at the same time, start a war and threaten a country's leadership? That's kind of weird. Like, he started the war with Iran, threatened Cuba. What's next? I'm not saying the Board of Peace is a bad idea. Sure, make a board that would actually help the world, sure, but it's kind of hypocritical to say I'm making a Board of Peace and then you start wars. Don't you think so? But anyway, guys, that's it for today. And again, if there are any stories that you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments. I'll read them actually, and I will talk about them tomorrow. I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow.